Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today, February 5th, is of particular importance for the people of East Turkestan. Today marks the 26th anniversary of the 1997 Gulja massacre. In the early days of February 1997, hundreds of mainly Uyghur residents gathered in the town of Gulja in the Ili region of Chinese-occupied East Turkestan in order to peacefully protest against the recent execution of 30 East Turkestan independence activists and the ruling Chinese Communist Party, CCP, and the Chinese occupation forces. On the morning of February 5th, as peaceful marches continued, armed Chinese occupation forces descended on Gulja and arrested thousands of peaceful civilians, subjecting them to humiliating mistreatment. Many were disfigured or lost limbs due to frostbite, and others lost their lives. Protests and riots followed, which were met with a brutal crackdown by Chinese authorities. Reports from the region stated that hundreds of Uyghurs lost their lives in the ensuing violence. The genocide, the tragedy in Gulja in 1997 was an escalation in China's decades-long campaign of colonization, genocide, and occupation. Today, the Gulja massacre continues on a daily basis with millions of Uyghurs, Kazakhs, Kyrgyz, and other Turkic peoples currently locked up in concentration camps, prisons, and slave labor camps where they are forcibly indoctrinated, tortured, sterilized, and even killed for their organs. Now with the China trade trap, it is not easy to hold China accountable and stop its ongoing genocide against the Uyghurs, Kazakhs, Kyrgyz, and other Turkic peoples of East Turkestan. Governments and international bodies must take meaningful action. The silence of the UN has led the US government and the parliaments of Canada, the UK, Belgium, the Netherlands, Lithuania, the Czech Republic, and France to officially designate China's barbaric treatment of Uyghurs, Kazakhs, Kyrgyz, and other Turkic peoples as genocide and crimes against humanity. Despite repeated calls by numerous organizations and parliaments, the UN Commission on Human Rights has failed to publish a righteous report on the situation in East Turkestan. If the UN is unwilling to investigate, and individual governments and parliaments' recognition of China's atrocities against Uyghurs/Turkic peoples as genocide cannot produce enough pressure to convince the Chinese government to stop, then what can? Will the world continue to issue symbolic condemnations and recognitions, or will it act to implement its treaty obligations under the UN Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide? On January 27, as a part of International Holocaust Remembrance Day, governments, politicians, corporations, leaders of organizations, and the elites of the world, including business people and celebrities, took to social media to restate their annual vows to never again. Never again is happening right now, right this very second in occupied East Turkestan. If governments are genuine in their vows to never again, they must fulfill their treaty obligations to prevent and punish the perpetrators of the greatest humanitarian crisis of our country, China's ongoing genocide in East Turkestan. In June 2020, the East Turkestan government in exile and the East Turkestan National Awakening Movement filed a legal complaint urging the ICC to investigate and prosecute Chinese officials for genocide. Governments must pressure the International Criminal Court to start investigations while the genocide is taking place in occupied East Turkestan. Furthermore, governments must also file a parallel case at the International Court of Justice. Failure to support East Turkestan people's legal efforts to end the ongoing genocide and obtain justice will only show that the vows of never again and commitment to human rights and justice are nothing but empty vows. What is even worse, the lack of an international investigation will only embolden China to continue its brutal attempts to eradicate the Uyghurs. As Holocaust survivor Elie Wiesel stated, we must take sides. Neutrality helps the oppressor, never the victim. Silence encourages the tormentor, never the tormented. Governments need to break their silence and voiced our support for an international investigation to be carried out regarding China's ongoing genocide and crimes against humanity against the Uyghur and other Turkic peoples of East Turkestan.
Thank you very much, Nuramine.